A. What is A? What is that called?
Angle bisector.
An angle bisector. That's what the dotted line is called. But you could also call angles 1 and 2 what? Adjacent or congruent. Very good. Those are all important. When you walk in tomorrow, you've got to know the difference between complementary and supplementary. You're not going to get those mixed up, right?
Right.
Complementary are two angles that add to equal
90 degrees.
It's right to give a compliment. It's the right thing to do. So right is 90 degrees. And then two angles that add to equal 180 are supplementary. Now, are these two angles a linear pair? Are these two angles a linear pair?
No.
Yes. Yes. No. Yes. No.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad we're going over this. They are not a linear pair. Because a linear pair is two angles that are not just supplementary, but they're also adjacent. So angles 1 and 2 are a linear pair, whereas this 130 and 50 are not a linear pair. Why not? They're not adjacent. It's going to ask you that tomorrow. It really will. So a linear pair, it has to be not only adjacent, but it also has to be supplementary. I talked about in my classes, if they're supplementary and they're adjacent, they get promoted. They're not adjacent anymore. They're not supplementary. They have a new job title. Their title is linear pair. So that is really important. We all know vertical angles, and we always set them equal every time, right? Every time we set them equal. And then hopefully you know you're acute, you're obtuse, and you're right. Because that's old news. Okay. You went over this in your classes already. Are there any questions about these that you saw in class today already?
No.
Maybe not, maybe you didn't. X plus Y equals 90. You would take those angles and you would add to equal 90. What's the vocab word for that? Complementary. Very good. What about this? X plus Y equals 180, and the vocab word is linear pair. What about this if I told you that the angle was 100? X plus Y equals 100. I call that part plus part equals whole. And then vertical angles, what would we do there? They are equal to each other. You set those guys equal. Okay. Probably already talked about that. Did I really beat the bush enough on linear pair? Here's what it looks like. A linear pair. What two things do the angles have to be a linear pair? Adjacent and supplementary. Very good. All right. Let's, on your paper or on the whiteboard, go ahead and solve this problem.
What number is it?
It is not a number. I made these up specifically for tutoring.
Oh, that's
Thank y'all for coming.
You're welcome.
It's good to see all of y'all here. Solving for X. Thank you for asking since it didn't include instructions.
I already know what the answer is.
Don't yell it out. That's no fun. Can you raise your hand if you can set up an equation for me?
I do.
Nico.
5x plus 2x plus 2x equals 180.
Beautiful.
Good job.
Are we okay with that? We saw an arc and it was 2x. We see another arc, it must also be 2x. You add all three of them to equal 180. That's important that we added all three of those angles. Then it's simple algebra. 9x equals 180. The opposite of multiply is? Divide. So hopefully everyone got x is 20. Questions?
No.
Move on, Miss Tanton, we got it, right?
Oh, Miss Tanton, we got it.
I'm glad we have a spokesperson in the corner. All right. Solve for x and y, please.
I love questions like this.
I know. We all love questions like this.
Solve for what?
X and y. There are calculators against the back wall that you can help yourself to, and there's whiteboards on the front table that you can also help yourself to. Does not my student want to set up the equation for x?
I'm not your student.
I want to do it, Miss Stanton.
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, I was talking to the girl behind you. I don't know her name because she's not my student.
5x minus 6 equals 64.
Beautiful. Vertical angles are congruent, so you surely can set them equal. 5x minus 6 equals 64. This is not a system of equations problem. Did you see that? It's not a system. They are separate problems entirely.
What's 5 times 70?
Who can set up how you would solve for y? Josh?
Okay. 64 plus 4y equals 8.
Perfect. Perfect. They are supplementary because they're a linear pair. Those two angles are a linear pair. These two angles are VA, vertical angles. Do you want me to show the algebra?
Yes.
Do I need to? Plus 6 plus 6. That cancels. 5x equals 64 plus 6. 70. The opposite of multiply is divide. Divide by 5, divide by 5. What is x, guys? 14.
Didn't we just do
Beautiful.
that one?
I'm sorry, what?
Nothing.
Oh, I said 14 and I wrote 15. 14, next one. Subtract 64 from both sides. Minus 64 minus 64. 180 minus 64. 116. 4y is 116. There's some board shakeage right now. Divide by 4.
29.
So x is 14 and y is 29. Could you do that tomorrow?
Yes.
Do you have a question?
No.
Other than Josh, do you have a question?
No.
I just want to make sure you're not speaking for everyone and they really don't get how I did one of
He
them.
doesn't have one.
Here's your chance. Okay. Next one.
And
Solve for x, please.
is that a right angle?
It is not a right angle. Thank you for not assuming. Part plus part equals whole. Raise your hand if you can set this up for me. Get that? Beautiful. Awesome. We're going to combine like terms. 3x plus, what is that, 41? Equals 110. Subtract 41 from both sides. 3x equals 69. Look at that. That's divisible by 3. Yay! Divide by 3, divide by 3. X is? Did you get 23? Did you get it? Or did I go too fast and not give you enough time to solve?
Come on.
23. Part plus part equals whole. Moving on.
Step up your game.
Yes.
Good job.
Solve for x, please. I have some background music.
You do? Oh.
Who's brave enough to set this one up for me? Called on you, I've called on you. You want to set it up? Remember? Oh, okay. Okay, I was going to just set those two equal to 90. But did y'all add 90 to equal?
Oh, 90?
I just said that, hey, these two are vertical angles. 5x plus 15, 5x plus 15. And then these two are complementary, so I just added them to equal 90. But if you added all three to equal 180, that'll work too. That'll work. It's just a few more numbers to keep track of.
I'm sorry. I did wrong.
Either way, we'll get you there. Good job, thank you.
Do you forgive me?
Always 5x plus 70 equals 90. 5x equals 20. Divide by 5. Do we get 4? X is 4. So, you could have used vertical angles and set them equal to 90. Or you could have said, hey, this angle is 90. And I know that angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 equals 180. That is perfectly fine. Okay? Are we okay? Question?
No.
Yep. 35. It's beautiful. That's great. That's another good way to solve. Someone say wait.
That's what I did too.
Okay, did you have the 90 in there?
No, but now that
Well, you can't set these two equal to 180. That they're not big enough to make a whole line. You'd have to include the 90 if you were going to do the 180 thing, okay? We set them equal to 90 because of right here, that complementary. All right. You know the circle trick? Do you know the circle trick?
I know the circle trick.
You know one angle, you know all angles. So you pick a diagonal and you circle every angle on that diagonal. So you're going to do that tomorrow. If we give you 16 angles, you're not going to start solving a problem until you've circled things. Okay? Now I can give you one angle and ask you for all other 15 angles. So someone pick a number between 0 and 180. I heard 25 first, sorry. Okay, so this angle is 25. What is angle 6? People are punching in their calculator.
155.
155. How did they get that? How did y'all get that?
Subtract 25 from
They're supplementary. Very good. What's angle 7?
Angle 7? Oh, that's
Not circled, not circled. 25, 25. What's angle 8? 155. What's angle 15? 25. What's angle 1? 155. Everything circled is 155. Everything not circled is 25. Let's talk about the converse real quick, because most of you get this. Oh, and by the way, none of this would have worked if Miss Tanton wouldn't have put these markings on her picture, right? None, throw it out the window if those lines are not parallel. It's gone. It doesn't work anymore. So the next day we learned what's called converses. We kind of reversed our sentences. If two things are equal or supplementary, you have to choose which two lines are parallel. We're going to ask you this tomorrow. I'm going to change this problem real quick. I'm going to change this to 13, and then I'll ask you what the original problem was, but I want to ask you this one first. If angle 5, the measure of angle 5 equals the measure of angle 13, which two lines must be parallel? So let's talk about it. So on your test, you're going to circle 5 and you're going to circle 13. Here's the trick. Is everyone listening? You find the line that is not involved. You find the line that's not involved. Which line could I erase from my picture and I still have 5 and I still have 13? C is gone from my picture. Now it is blaringly obvious which ones are parallel. Do you see it? Q or A. Oh, that's why y'all were confused. You all knew the answer, you just didn't know what letter it was. I think it's an A. I don't think I'd put a Q there. That's an A and that's a B. A is parallel to B and that's the answer. A is parallel to B. Okay, now what if I asked you what that originally said, which is kind of weird, but anyway. What that originally said was 5 is congruent to 12. Which two lines must be parallel? Now, 5 and 12, name those names. Name them. Same side interior. For lines to be forced to be parallel, what are same side interior angles supposed to be? Supplementary. Supposed to be supplementary. This is not saying that they're supplementary. So which lines are parallel? None. The answer to this one is none. And I know what you're thinking. I know you're saying, but they're 90, they're 90, 90, so they do add up to 180. But no one is telling you that they're both 90. For all we know, that could be 70 and that could be 70. It's just that they're congruent. That doesn't make the lines parallel. Okay? Let me ask another one while we're still on this picture.
Just gonna go to the second.
Alrighty. Okay, if angle, so this is not true anymore, I'm going to do a new one. If angle 1 is congruent to angle 5, which two lines must be parallel? So angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. Which line is not involved? B is not involved. The only things left over that are parallel are C is parallel to D. See with the answer on your test like this. C is parallel to D. What is the vocab word for 1 and 5? Alternate exterior angles. And it doesn't start with an S, so they're supposed to be congruent, and they are congruent. So if they're doing what they're supposed to, then those lines are parallel. That was the converse thing. All right, let's just do a few more problems, and then I'll go over things from your review sheet. Whatever questions you want me to answer from your review, or from any quiz or any homework or whatever you want. Just solve for X. Okay, just keep it on that back table, and I'll come here. I have passes over here. Give me a pass. Raise your hand if you can tell me what the vocab word is. Vocab word. Ah, they didn't raise their hands. Okay. They are corresponding. Does that start with an S? No. If it doesn't start with an S, by the way, Miss Tammy needed that. If it doesn't start with an S, then they are congruent. If it does start with an S, they're supplementary. If it doesn't, they're congruent. So you should be on your paper setting these equal. Is that what you were doing?
Yes.
Okay, that's how you should have set it up. Because corresponding angles are congruent if our lines are parallel. Final answer? Nice. It's a nice, easy algebra, right? Move the 2, add the 5. X is 8. End of story. Move on. Okay. Try this one. X again. And these are parallel. I'm going to add that to my picture. Vocab word for these angles. Same side interior. If it starts with an S, they're supplementary. So are you setting those equal?
180.
No, you're not. You're adding them to equal 180. 4x plus 100 equals 180. 4x equals 80. X equals 20. Very good. Okay. Yes?
Can you also do 4x plus 20 equals?
Sure. Yep, same thing. Definitely. Okay, sorry. I had one more and then we'll do the review. What is true about angle 1 and angle 2? Just brainstorm. So if these are parallel, if and only if these are parallel, they're same side interior angles. What else did you say? They're supplementary, not congruent because it starts with an S. They're supplementary. You know how this works. So you could take this angle right here, and if you were to move it over, how is that related to angle 2? What is it now? What's this vocab word? Nope. Linear pair, which is adjacent and supplementary. So that's why same-side interior angles are supplementary. Because I could move angle 1 here, and now these two are a linear pair. And that's why they add up to linear. Okay, what can I work on from the review sheet? Give me a problem, and I can talk about it. Number 10.
Number 8.
Well, okay, that's way too many, guys. I'm starting with 10. Not funny.
Is 10 going to be this one?
The answers are online. I'm doing number 10 because I was asked that one first. And if my computer will ever cooperate with me. Well, come on. Okay, never mind. I'll just work it right here because it won't do anything. The measure of an angle is 16 less than 3 times its complement. Find the measure of each angle. So the first thing that you would do is draw a set of complementary angles. Remember, I just want to make sure we all are on the same page about this. Complementary is not a 90-degree angle, right? It's two angles that add to equal 90. A right angle is not complementary. That's not the same thing. Complementary has to be two angles. So, two angles that add to equal 90. I'm going to call one of them x. I'm going to call the other one 16 less than 3 times x. What does that look like? 16 less than 3 times x. Yeah. 3x minus 16. What do you do with those two? Add them to equal 90. So 3x minus 16 plus x equals 90. 4x minus 16 equals 90, so on and so forth. You can look online at the answers, okay? Let's move on. First come, first serve. What you got? 5. I heard 5 first. Sorry. 5. So what means? Oh, I don't. Is Susan in the room? I mean, she's a DC. I don't know. Number 5, OG is perpendicular to EB. Did you notice how we gave you the picture over and over instead of making you use the same picture?
Yeah.
We were nice this time. You're welcome. Okay, anyways. OG is perpendicular to EB. GOF is x squared minus 3x. And FOE is 2x plus 48. What do we know about those two angles? Please don't set them equal. Those two angles are not a linear pair. What about these two angles right here? Angle 1 and angle 2. Starts with C. They are complementary. How do I know they add up to 90? This one's 90, then this one's 90, because 180 minus 90 is 90. It's okay that that's 90? You know that when you have this situation and that angle's 90, you know that one's 90 every time, because 180 minus 90 is 90. All right, so I know that I'm going to add these to equal 90. X squared minus 3x plus 2x plus 48 equals 90. Guys, we have no way around this. This is a factoring problem. We can't even get out of it. So let's move everything to one side of the equation. X squared, let's see, negative 3 plus 2. Negative 1. X squared minus x, let's see, what's 48 minus 90? Yes, it is. Negative 42 equals 0. So everyone at least write this down. X squared minus x minus 42 equals 0. Now, we're going to factor. X, x. Okay, things that multiply to get 42, they've got to be close together because somehow I need to make a 1. 6 times 7. Okay. So put a 6 and put a 7. Now we're going to decide what sign they're going to have. We want it to be a negative 1. So we want it to be 7 minus 6 or 6 minus 7?
6 minus 7.
6, positive 6 minus 7. We want the bigger one to be negative because that needs to be a negative 1. We want the bigger one to be negative. X is not 6 and negative 7. X is
7.
Negative 6 and 7. Sometimes we keep both answers, and sometimes we throw one out. So let's see if we need to throw any of them out. Negative 6 squared, what's that? 36, thank you. Negative 6 times negative 3, I don't even care what that is. That's going to be positive. It checks out. It works in this one. Let's try it in the next one. What's 2 times negative 6? Negative 12. Negative 12 plus 48. Positive or negative? Positive. So actually, we get to keep both answers. You know how sometimes we keep both and sometimes we don't? This is another time that we're going to keep both answers. So x is negative 6 and it's 7. So when you're finding BOC, which by the way, BOC is the same exact angle as 2x plus 48. They're vertical angles. So you're going to plug 7 in here, and you're going to plug negative 6 in here. You're going to have two answers. Two answers. Okay? Just plug them both in. Let's move on. 20. Let's all go to 20. Given E is parallel to F and A is parallel to B, solve for each. The first step you do on these is decide what the vocab word is. 3 and 9. Oh no, there is no vocab word for 3 and 9, is there? Are you looking at your picture? There is no vocab word. So we're going to have to do our circle trick. Circle, 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 circle. You pick a diagonal. I happen to usually pick this one. You pick a diagonal and you circle everything along that diagonal. 3 is not circled, so I'm going to put an N for not. And 9 is circled. If something's not circled and circled, are they equal? No, they're supplementary. They're not equal, they're supplementary. So, 5x plus 5 plus 11x minus 17 equals 180. Did I lose anyone on the fact that they're supplementary? Is that okay? One's circled and one's not. So they're not the same angle, they're different. They're supplementary. So you would just solve that. Do you need me to show the algebra? Or do you want to move on and do some other problems?
What about number 19?
What about number 19? Angle 1 is circled. Angle 9 is
Circle.
circled. So what do? You set them equal. 10x plus 13 equals 7x plus 40. And they solve, yeah. I can work the algebra or I can do a different problem. Number 7. The algebra is worked on the key online, by the way. I show all my work on there. Number 7. There are passes over here if you're going somewhere where you require a pass. They're stamped over here. Okay, ready? SRU is congruent to RUS. So you put arcs on there. QRP is X. TUR is 3X. And TUV is 2X. Find RUT. We're finding the measure of angle RUT. All right. At least, to start with, make your picture look like my picture. So mark your picture the same way I marked mine. Right now, since we don't have parallel lines, there's not a whole lot we can do, but I do see something that we can do. And it starts with vertical angles. Do you see some vertical angles? So what I would do is I would say, hey, this is X, and these are vertical angles, so I'm going to call this X. And then, whoa, this has an arc, and this has an arc, so it must also be X. And now I'm ready to go. Do you see what's happening right here? What do all 3 of these add up to? 180. How many are there? 3 plus 2 plus 1. 6x equals 180. Oh, this got really easy, really quickly. X is 30. And now it's asking for the measure of RUT, R-U-T. R-U-T is 3x. So what's R-U-T? 90. And then it asks if they're perpendicular. Well, yeah, if it's 90 degrees, then they are perpendicular. So that's a yes. And the answer was 90. Is that okay? We use vertical angles and we use our arcs. There's going to be arcs on the test tomorrow. You know, if you see arcs, those angles are the same. They're congruent. You can name them the same thing. Okay, what else from the review? Number 4. When you see the word bisect, the first thing you should do is add arcs to your picture. Add congruent markings to your picture. Very good. So arc, arc. So the OB bisects that angle. AOB, well, that's the half. And AOC is the whole. Be careful. We gave you the half and the whole. So what we're not going to do is set them equal. Instead, we can either take our whole and we can bisect it, cut it in half, or we can take our half and we can double it. Is 84 easily divisible by 2? Yeah, so let's go ahead and bisect that. 84 cut in half, divide by 2.
42.
So both of these angles are 42. So do you agree that now we can set this 4x plus 2, now we know what it equals. It doesn't equal 84, it equals 42. So 4x equals 40 and x is 10. Yes? Then go ahead and take the other one and double it. So let's pretend that had equaled 87. Let's pretend the whole was 87. Take the half, 4x plus 2, and you want 2 of them, because 2 halves make a whole. So you double it to set equal to the whole, okay? Yeah, that's been there for a while. It won't go away. Okay, what else? Uh-huh. Number 3. 7x plus 10. BOC is 38. Well, I know I can stop right there and set those equal, right? Because they're vertical angles. So I'm actually going to stop. I don't want to add more information than I need. I'm going to stop right there and set them equal. Because vertical angles are congruent all the time, every time. So subtract 10. 7x equals 28. Oh, that's nice. 28 is divisible by 7. So x is 4. But it wasn't asking for x. Let's keep going. Let's plug it in. What are we trying to find? AOC? And we know that EOD is 6x plus 1. Okay. These are vertical angles, right? So if I take 4 and plug it in, 6 times 4, 24 plus 1. All right, now we can do it. 25 and 38. You add them together and you're done. Yes?
For number 6?
Yes.
Would you do like the 2x squared plus 5 plus root of 3 plus 5 plus 5x squared?
Wait, this isn't a bisector problem. So FOE is 2x squared plus 5, and FOB is 5x squared. What do those make? What's the vocab word? The linear pair. Together they make a straight line. Together they equal 180. So it's 2x squared plus 5 plus 5x squared equals 180. What else can I do, guys? 24. Ooh, this will be on the test for sure. Which lines, if any, would be parallel? So, if angle 4 is congruent to angle 1, which they're vertical angles, so they're definitely congruent, which lines are not involved? C is not involved. Keep going. P is also not involved. You see how when those lines are erased, I still have 1, I still have 4. Vertical angles are not dependent on parallel lines. So how would we answer number 24?
None.
Which lines left over are parallel? None. No, none. K is not parallel to T. Oh my goodness.
I didn't hear the parallel.
It's okay. The answer is none. That is an option. None is an option. So that's important. It's always half and half. It's always 50-50. Because you're in K. The AP exam is not 100% multiple choice when you get to calculus. And you want to get your college credit. You don't want to be used to multiple choice and then all of a sudden it's not. Anyways, what else? You can grab a quiz, you can grab a homework, anything that you have a question over. Which problem?
Oh, the Disney quiz.
No, not the Disney quiz. Oh, number 3.
Number 3. Oh, okay. Okay, let me steal it because I don't have a copy. 3. So this is one version of the quiz. Okay. You have to be careful on this one. Yes. You have to be careful because only one set of those lines are parallel. Only one set of those lines are parallel, and that's really important. Or you can just put it on that table.
Alright, so what number is that?
It's from a quiz. It was number 3 on yesterday's quiz. It was number 3 on yesterday's quiz. So, the thing is that you're going to use same side interior angles, but you can't just use any of them. You can only use the ones that work with the parallel lines. So, show the parallel lines and then pick a transversal, any transversal. So I'm going to pick this one to work with first. Which two angles are the same side interior angles? 81, and it goes with? No, these are not parallel.
Oh.
Those are the same side interior angles, right there and there. They don't equal. They add to equal 180. Y minus 23 plus 81 equals 180. To solve for x, you know that that these are also same side interior. These two down here, same side interior. So we know these add to equal 90. But if you've got, add to equal 180. If you've got 180 and you've already used 90, then there has to be 90 left. So that one you just set equal to 90. Some people like to do it where you just find the supplement of this, like 180 minus 81, and then they just set that equal to that number. Is that right? 99. Do you know what I'm saying? They find the supplements, because these are supplementary. They do 180 minus 81. It's 99. And then they just set that equal to 99. That's another way to think of it. Okay, what else can I work? Okay, I'll work like 2 more problems, and then I'll stop and I'll post this video, and you can watch it again if you need to. Number 1 from the quiz?
So y is 99.
Wait.
No, you had to solve. Y minus 23 is 99. Add 23 to both sides. And you might have had a different quiz.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 1 on this version of the quiz was 6x plus 27, 8x minus 21, w, y, z, 7x plus 3. Okay, I think I got it. You need to start by finding one of the angles. Right now, we weren't given any of the angles, so we better find one of them. And we actually have a few different options. Yeah, we have more options than we even need. But we can start with our tried and true. We can start with vertical angles, right? Do you agree that vertical angles are always congruent every time? So let's start with something that's tried and true. Set the vertical angles equal. And then we get, let's see, 2x, and then add 21, so we get 48, and then x is 24. Now, x was 24. Some of you took x and you plugged it back into the angle, and you gave me the angle, but I didn't want the angle, I wanted x. X was 24. Now let's plug it in and start. Once we know one angle, by the way, once we know one angle, we know all of them, okay? Because these are parallel. 6 times 24 plus 27. This angle is 171. I now know all the angles. Do you remember how this works? 171, 171, 171, 171. And then going the other way, 180 minus 171. 9, 9, 9, 9. If you know one angle, you know all 8 angles. So what was y? It was 171. What was z? It was 9. What was w? It was 9. Okay? What else can I work? One more thing?
Could you go high on the 7?
From the review or the quiz? The quiz? Okay.
Yeah.
Number 7 was a system of equations. It was on the back of your quiz. There we go. Parallel lines, transversal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 7, 8. So we give you angle 3 and angle 5, and then we give you angle 2 and angle 6. Do you agree that angle 3 and 5 are congruent? Alternate interior angles. So they're congruent. We're going to set them equal. Angle 2 and angle 6, what's true about those? Corresponding angles. That doesn't start with an S, so they're also equal. So what you are doing is you're setting the first one, 3, equal to 5, because 3 equals 5. And then you were setting angle 2 equal to angle 6, because 2 equals 6. So you set 3 equal to 5 and 2 equal to 6. And now, what do? You just add them together, because there's a y and there's a negative y. They're going to cancel. What's x plus x?
2x.
2x, y minus y, gone, equals 180. 78 plus 102. They were a linear pair anyways. And then you divide by 2. X is 90. And then what kind of got some people was that when you plug x in, you get a negative answer for y. And that kind of scared people, but it was a negative answer for y. The angle wasn't negative, but the y variable was negative. So, okay, guys. That's all. If you did miss some